Hi, I'm Andrea Klim, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. And today is January 23rd, and I'm going to be talking about the new moon that's coming in tomorrow in Aquarius, Eastern Standard Time at about 6:33 p.m. tomorrow night. And as you can see from the chart on my screen, the new moon is over here in Aquarius at 4 degrees and 26 minutes into the sign. And Aquarius is a sign that's about community. It's about what our goals are, what our objectives are, and how we're going to achieve them, how we're going to strategize to achieve those goals and those objectives. And Aquarius is the one that is also about community, about friendships, and what's best for everybody. And it's quite interesting that this new moon is what we call in square to Uranus. And what that means is that there's some challenges here to grow together as a community, as a whole, as a, as a world. And Uranus is the planet that brings the most unexpected occurrences. For us, Taurus is about security. It's about our money. It's about our values. And the squares that we see here is pressure. It's pressure to change. It's pressure to change old patterns that we've been accustomed to in these particular areas of our lives, which are associated with, what is it that we are looking to achieve? Can we achieve that through the same methods or the old ways that we used to do things? And I've often referred to squares as what I call sleeper cells, because they bring up things that we haven't really understood, or things that we're overcoming. And this is what we call a fixed square. And what that means is that there are certain things that have been a particular way that we've become accustomed to, that we've become used to. And these are areas that the universe is saying, let's change this. Let's look at what it would look like to look at this from a different point of view. Aquarius is this of the most unusual. It's science. It's different, looking at things from outside the box rather than inside the box. So it's in a different way than we are accustomed to in the past. And so that this is the theme of this new month. In the Gregorian calendar, we look at a month from the 1st to the 31st, the end of the month. But in astrology, we look at a new month from the new moon to the next new moon. And January 24th is the new moon in Aquarius. So it is a new month, a new energy, a new start. And it's sort of, things coming together. And as a whole, Aquarius talks about the whole. It talks about our communities. It talks about what we're doing together. It brings that type of influence in. And definitely there is this change. This part of the chart up here is about what the rules are, what the laws are, what's fair, what's just. And there's this unexpected earthly shift that's occurring within humanity. And this is, this could be in foreign lands. This could be foreign cultures or foreign beliefs, and we're really having a hard time adjusting to new ways, new methods. And so it really does bring our focus to consider looking at things from a different viewpoint. And that can be challenging because we're meant to stop, we're meant to realize where we've been stuck, where we've been going to the same places over and over and over, and that's not really working anymore. So this Uranus is the planet of awakening. It can be sudden and unexpected things occurring. So we can look at that from a perspective of, where is it in my life that I have been used to these same values, these same expectations, and it's changing now. So, if your birthday is around the end of any month, around the 24th, I would say the 20th, 21st to about the 27th of any month, you're going to feel this energy, you're going to feel these influences in your life the most. There'll be experiences that are brought forward, depending on what's in your personal birth chart. And so we are really, the world is changing as a whole. We can see, and so many astrologers are talking about the Pluto, as you see me pointing to, Pluto conjunct Saturn, and Pluto is about transformation. Capricorn is structures. It's the change or the transformation of old structures, of government processes, of control. Saturn is a planet that is Capricorn is a sign that is what we call cardinal. So there's an element of control that is changing, of powerful figures, powerful people that are bringing changes, and that the power is changing also. And Saturn is about responsibility. It's about time. And so from a very, very, this is, the work, this part of the chart is about work. It's about day-to-day life. So people's lives and the very structure of their lives and the business environment and the business world is changing. Governments are changing. There's a lot of things from the past. You can see the South Node here. It gives reference to creating new patterns, recognizing old patterns, recognizing things from the past. I've got a lot of people right now contacting me about past lives, about this lifetime and their past experiences, and also going back to what's at the root of those old patterns, of those old responsibilities, of those old structures, of those old methods, and how can I create new ones? And so with Jupiter right next to the South Node on this new moon, it would expand our attention, bring attention to areas that we are, where our responsibilities lie, and that we're learning a lot right now, and it's taking work. Capricorn is one of the signs of the zodiac that is hardworking, is always climbing to the next height, to the next peak. And so there is a strong influence there around understanding what it takes to climb those mountains, so to speak. And this month is also going to be about what's happening right now is, Venus in Pisces on this new moon is next to Neptune. Neptune is a planet of resolve, but it can bring into our experience areas that we've suffered and that we're going through some realization of what that looks like. But it can be really confusing because Mars, the planet of activity, of movement, in the sign of Sagittarius, has us actively searching for understanding, actively searching for what our beliefs are. And the squares, as you heard me talk about before, are pressure. And it's pressure to understand these areas where we have suffered. It also puts a lot of stress on the immune system because Neptune rules, and medical astrology rules over the immune system. Venus is relationships. So it can bring great confusion to where we want to proceed. It can even bring a great concentration on areas where people are angry, because Mars can be anger over, you know, that our beliefs are different. Everybody's beliefs are different. And so there's this pressure of how to adapt. And there's this pressure around boundaries. And so that is very present right now on this new moon. And this is what we call applying. This aspect is applying, and that means that it's coming toward us. So it can, you could see people acting out against others that they don't understand what their beliefs are, or, you know, that type of influence is very prevalent. And so there, you know, whenever I see mutable squares like this, I say it's, you know, one of the things that really is helpful is to be really mindful of where you're at, what that looks like, and to really pause when you have squares present like this. And this is a universal chart, so it means it's energy that's influencing everybody. And the most important thing that is really significant on this new moon is we need to look at the North Node, which points to what's the most important, where we're going to find the most positive concentration, where we're going to be achieving, where we should be moving toward. And that is the North Node. We call it the Dragon's Head, or the North Node of the moon. It points the direction toward where we're going to find the most fulfillment, and that is in our families. And also, this part of the chart is, you know, to really be aware of what you're feeling inside and what you want to nurture in way of achieving goals, in way of connecting with other people, being sensitive to what your community, what your friends, what your family is experiencing, and nurturing that, making adjustments in those areas to resolve conflict, becoming aware of what your responsibilities are, what you want to create, what your children are doing, and how you can best teach. Capricorn is the teaching sign. So how you can best teach how to use what it is that you have in your life, how you can best utilize the things that you value, how you can best express yourself. So primarily the main focus around this time in probably the next 6 months is going to be very much around really heading in directions that we are nurturing our inner workings, nurturing our families, nurturing, sometimes our families are our friends. And so really strategizing together on what that looks like, and really communicating with other people about what's most important to us in our relationships. That's what this opposition is that you're looking at in this chart on this new moon. So again, as I talked about before, in astrology, a new moon is like the first of every month when you look at the regular calendar. And so it gives us an idea of where the most focus is. And if I was to put up a chart here of the United States and talk about that, I know that there is a lot of opposition right now. There's a lot of awareness about our security and the controlling factors of the government and how they're changing. I mean, we can reference that by the impeachment process that's going on, and, you know, where the powers lie and what is the direction that we're meant to go in. And that really is to nurture the relationships of the partnerships or the relationships with other country, and where does that security lie? So what does that look like to us as a whole? So, you know, typically I don't typically go into areas that are connected with politics too much. It is so controversial, but I can say that there is this incredible underlying process of structures that no longer work that are being removed. And that can be a painful process because it's a process of letting go of what was and looking for, you know, it's not even about looking, it's about really just, you know, asking yourself, asking that divine guidance that is around you, what does it look like for all of us as a whole? Where are we meant to go? What does that look like as we move into this time, which is the Aquarius, the beginning of the age of Aquarius? And, you know, this new moon does bring that to light. How do we want to do that? The pressure or the challenges here to look at the old patterns, to examine them as a whole, and to be open to look into different avenues and to just really examine what our values are and what it is that we believe in and how that is changing and what makes sense for everyone as a whole together. That's what Aquarius is. It's the signature of humanity. So we do have a full moon that will be coming up this month on February 9th. And that is going to be at 20 degrees of Leo. And I'll be coming back to talk more about that at another time. But I also want to talk with you about, you know, Mercury retrograde is coming up on February 16th. And I can give you a little glimpse of what that looks like because we are in the foreshadow of that right now. But February 16th, as you can see right here, Eastern Standard Time, about 8:20 at night, is when Mercury begins its retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which is the sign that brings up our dreams, our visions, boundaries. What are healthy boundaries? And pretty much what's good for our health and our well-being. This part of the chart, from a universal standpoint, is our day-to-day work, our day-to-day practices, our day-to-day dreams, and what is it that we're thinking about. Mercury retrograde brings us to, or encourages us to take some time to examine, to retrace, to revisit. It's really not about making decisions. It's about being present and listening, hearing, thinking, feeling. Pisces is a water sign, so it's about feeling. What are our deepest visions? What are our deepest dreams? How are we going to do that? Mercury retrograde lasts from February 16th through March 9th. So it does bring our focus to really revisit areas that we are not clear on, and it does bring us the means to a brighter future. And right around February 25th, I'm going to show you what that looks like. February 25th is the time when you see Mercury and the Sun coming together. And this is a time where we're going, aha, I get what this retrograde is wanting me to really recognize. And you know, this chart does show a lot of pressure right here around February 25th. And it's this is what we call a cardinal cross squared off. So it's really being aware of what our actions are and how we're acting. But Mercury retrograde, as I was talking about before, does give us some clarity into areas that we are best to be focused on and nurturing. We can see that by these blue lines, what we call trines, which is a sense of relief that's coming through this Mercury retrograde period. So Mercury retrograde does end March 9th. So I would, recommend that be a period of time where you're not making any decisions, but just holding off and just re-evaluating wherever this retrograde is occurring in your life. And so I do want to recognize everyone who supports Turn to the Stars and all those who I've had the opportunity to work with and am working with. And I do want to tell you about some things that I'm doing that helps with helping you on your path. Astrology is something that gives us a map. And I like to put it on the screen while I'm doing this recording because it gives us a map of the energy and the influences around us and how we can, kind of navigate through these times in our lives and understand these patterns. And we do have free will, so we can always make a decision whichever direction we choose, but that energy is always going to be there. And that's what astrology is. It's kind of like a guidebook or an informational map that we can look to, that we can study to understand our paths. So I did want to talk about the Mercury retrograde because that is something that's coming up and it's really important. The after shadow of Mercury retrograde is actually the third time that we get to experience the same type of influences that we have actually for 2 times prior to this particular part of the retrograde, which is, the retrograde's over by March 9th, but basically from March 9th through March 29th is the after shadow. So we're continuing to retrace for a 3rd time. So we get 3 chances, 3 opportunities to visit the same area or to think about the same area and to make really good decisions about wherever this is in our lives. So, and coming back to some of the things I was talking about before, I am offering something that I've been really getting some guidance on of how I can better serve all of you who are turning to the stars for, for guidance and to these maps, these astrological maps. So if you go to turntothestars.com and you look on under subscriptions, there is, I'm offering subscriptions, annual subscriptions or quarterly subscriptions that save a lot of money and give you an opportunity to connect with me many times during the year at a reduced rate of about 44% from what it would normally cost. And it really gives you the opportunity to really align with your map, your life map, and what those outside influences are. So I just wanted to bring that up in the process of today's recording. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's provided great support to me and to Turn to the Stars over the last 22 years of me doing this work. And I do want to wish you all a really happy new moon in Aquarius that starts tomorrow and a great month ahead. And I look forward to talking to you very soon and to this 2020 experience of huge changes. It's exciting. And it is also, though, a great time to really understand what your old patterns are, to visit those patterns in your life, to even to look at those from a past life standpoint, because those are the roots of what we've unconsciously brought into this life. And so there are many different ways, many methods, meditations, journeys, shamanic journey, uh, remotely I can work with you on those type of realizations and for finding some sense of peace with some of those old roots. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video for today, but I want to say thank you to everyone, and I want to say thank you for turning to the stars for your answers, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.